What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another jlespov video. My name is Jonathan, and in today's video, as you guys can probably tell, we're gonna be doing an oil change on the TCs. This is a 2015 Scion TC. For those of you guys who haven't followed along with everything that has been done to this, so this is not a how-to video. This is just me showing you guys how I do my oil change. If you're not comfortable doing an oil change yourself, don't do an oil change. Go take it to a professional so they can do it for you. Once again, this is not a how-to video, but with all that said, let's get straight into this. So for the tools, I just bought this basic toolkit that you can buy at any O'Reilly's or AutoZone. I bought this a while ago at AutoZone, and to remove my oil filter, I have this oil filter key. That's what I like to call it. And this one right here is specific to Honda and Toyota models. These keys are not universal, so you have to read the box and make sure you're buying the proper one for your specific model or vehicle. It will list the manufacturers and all the model of vehicles that it fits. This one specifically for Toyota and Hondas, so it fits a 2015 Camry. So same engine, same filter. So yeah. Next up, under the car, you got to make sure that you're using something that's going to hold the amount of oil that you need. I have this bucket right here. It holds about 3 gallons. So it'll be more than enough to hold 4 quarts, four and a half quarts, which is what this car takes. This will be your oil filter right here. We'll be removing that in a second. Yeah, but at first you guys will see your oil plug right here. That's what needs to get removed. Make sure you protect whatever surface you're using on. I have this piece of cardboard on top of my bucket just in case there are any drops. I don't want them getting on my garage floor. So yeah, make sure you're protecting your stuff before you take out the oil plug. Okay, next up we'll be finding the right socket to fit. So I think I need a 12 if I remember correctly. Last time I'm pretty sure I need a size 12 for this. No, a little bigger. Okay. Okay, so I guess in size 14 that's what I need. Yeah, size 14. Okay, I found it. Okay, so these plugs can be pretty difficult to crack loose, but once you crack them loose and you give them a few turns, it should be easy enough to the point where you can just remove it with the socket itself. Yeah, like that. Now the biggest trick here is trying to remove this without getting your hands full of oil. I don't think I'm gonna be that lucky today, so again, just position whatever you're using to remove the oil. Make sure you position it to a point where, there it is, it's already coming out. Yeah, no, it's still a bit too rough. Take out all backs up, so I gotta keep using the socket. Yeah, I wasn't lucky. My hands are full of oil, but we're officially draining the oil. So just gotta let my hand rinse in there for a little bit because I don't want it all over the stuff. And I forgot to grab a rag. Don't be like me, make sure you grab a rag when you're dealing with oil. Okay, so once you're done draining your oil and you put your oil plug back in, which I just did, you're gonna grab your tool, right? And then there's gonna be these little slits on the tool. You're gonna align those with the slits on the filter, right? And then from there you just want to loosen the filter up just like so. As you're loosening it up, make sure that whatever you're using to catch the oil it's right under the filter, because this thing, once it comes down with oil as well. So Alright, so I just removed the extension because I no longer need it. It's getting uncomfortable for me to be able to work on this. Okay, so we just got our tool realigned, and now we're just gonna continue removing the oil filter. There it is. I no longer need the ratchet. Right, so I'm going to slowly remove it. See, a lot of oil comes out of there, so you guys got to be careful. Make sure you align this properly, because a lot of oil comes out of there. It's an oil filter. As you guys can probably see. And then we're just gonna let that drain for a little bit before we come in and swap the O-rings and the filters and stuff. In the meantime, while that stuff back there drains, the oil filter port drains, what we can do is we can put in the new filter. So needless to say, make sure you guys are grabbing the correct filter for your car. I'm gonna put this rag right here. It's not leaking anymore, but in the case it does leak, you know. And you're gonna grab something sharp, right? In my case, I'm using this little pocket knife, but you're gonna want to grab something sharp so you can get under the O-ring and lift it up. Lift it all the way up. Oh, that's exactly what we did not want. Sorry, there was just a little bit. We cleaned that right off. There we go. So once the old O-ring is off, you're gonna want to put the new one in. Right, same thing. I'm gonna put it in. Oh, it came off. I always like to lubricate my O-ring a little bit, so just stick my fingers in the inside the oil filter holder, whatever the thing is. I promise you I know the name for my things, I just forget them. You know, just lubricate it. You don't necessarily have to, but I like to do it anyways. A lot of people do it. So again, try to get it on there and then just all the way down to make sure it's in place. Once it's seated, you can grab your oil filter. Make sure there's nothing on it. Okay, so there's nothing on it on your oil filter, and we're just gonna put it right back in. There's little hairs on it. Okay, I gotta make sure it's clean first. Okay, there's nothing on it, so just gonna put it all the way in there. There we go. The oil filter is in. The O-ring is in. Old O-ring out. Time to put it back in the car. Okay, so now it's time to put the oil filter back in it. So I'm just gonna screw it in with my hand at first. As far as I possibly can. There we go, because now my hand starts to slip. And then we're just gonna torque it down. Okay, there we go. There we go. You're gonna feel it hit the bottom. There we go. I'm just gonna make sure and just give it one more pull, one more tug. But with the extension off, here we go. There we go. All right. So okay, so we just put everything back in, we tighten everything down. Now I always leave the piece of cardboard underneath just in case there's just like a small leak or so from something we didn't tie down all the way. You know, we can just catch it here instead of it going to the garage floor, and then we can just stop putting in oil and come down here real quick and just tighten everything back up if we have to. So time to put the oil back in. Okay, now to put oil back in the car. But since I have the car jacked up, what I always do is I put in about 2 quarts of oil. And by the way, my car takes 0 W20. I put in 5 W20 because the car does have its miles already and has 114,000 miles, something like that. So I just put in just a little bit thicker oil, full synthetic. I always use full synthetic on my cars, but you know, just to make sure. So now we have this. So I'm gonna grab my little pocket knife. I'm just gonna cut all around it. Take it all the way off. My little pocket knife down, and here we go. Time to put in about 2 quarts of oil. Okay, that's about enough. Now we go and check it. Okay, so now that the car is down to the ground and is level, we make sure that nothing is leaking, everything's tightened up the way it's supposed to. My car takes 4.5 quarts, so we gotta get it empty all the way down here. Right, so we just put in, I always put in 4 quarts, always put in around half a quart or to a whole quart less than the car actually needs, and then just check your oil, make sure it's at the right measurement. Right, so I can still take a little more. Okay, let me see. Okay, there we go. So it's right about there. So now we're gonna grab the rag. So we dust it, and I'm going to grab my oil dipstick. Wipe it off. That's not going to be an accurate reading. And now we measure. So we're at not even close. We're about halfway there. So it needs a bit more. So we're gonna put another half a quart in and then just come back and verify. So yeah, about half a quart. A little more. Okay, there we go. Now we double check. Always wipe the first one off. The first one is never going to be an accurate reading. More often than not, I shouldn't say never, but more often than not, it's not going to be an accurate reading. And there it is. It's missing just a little more, so I'm going to add maybe just a little more. Missing just a little more, but it's negligible. The good thing about the TC is that if you have a 2000, just a Scion TC in general, you know these cars don't burn oil, unlike the VQs and stuff from Nissan. So that's not something you should worry about with this engine. But either way, you always want to get the right measurement. Okay, there we go. Just a little bit more. Let me add just a bit more. It barely moved. Okay, that right there, yeah, that should be it right there. So let me put you down. I don't want you to fall on me. So once again, grab the dipstick, wipe, put it back in. Now it's right where it's supposed to be. I don't know if the camera's picking up. You have dot number 1 right here, dot number 2 right here. Those are your markers. Nothing past the dot, right on the dot. There you go, we got oil. It's right where it has to be. Don't just put the amount of oil that your car needs, guys, just because remember, there's always gonna be just a little bit that's gonna be left in the car. There we go, perfect. We nailed it. There's always gonna be a little bit of oil that is gonna be left in the car, right? It's gonna be a slight amount, but it's gonna be noticeable. If you just, for example, if your car like mine says it takes 4.5 quarts and you just put in all 4.5 quarts, it might read the dipstick might read that you have more oil than you need, because there's always a little bit that gets left in it. So we're gonna screw everything back in. Make sure it's in there tight. There we go. And that's it. I just did an oil change on my 2015 Scion TC. Once again, this is not a how-to video. This is just me showing you guys how I do my oil change. If you are gonna do this, it's at your own risk. And yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Jonathan, and you just watched a jlespov video. Thank you guys so much.